Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another scene of Living World of Darkness. Tonight we have Jason Vardell coming to visit Lady Sheridan at her request. And once he arrives, he will be ushered very quickly through quite a large house and out into the back garden where Lady Sheridan is sitting on something like a bit of a stone bench next to a currently unlit fire pit and a nice large backyard jacuzzi.
Jason will be in his regular almost hobo suit attire, though upon entering the backyard, he will give a quick, graceful bow at the waist. Lady Sheridan, well met.
Thank you for coming. And she will gesture for him to take a seat on the sort of stone bench thing next to her.
And for the first time ever, he seems really well at ease being outside. He quickly takes a seat, crosses his left leg over his right, and sits back relaxed.
I was wondering quite how you wanted to fit in this city. Obviously you found a coterie, which is certainly a good start, but on a more, well, shall we say day-to-day basis?
Well, when I was visiting that club that we were invited to earlier this week, I was hoping, being run by the Camarilla, I'd be able to get a bouncing job or a bodyguard job, preferably, but I got to start somewhere, right?
Yes, that's certainly a possibility. I was rather thinking that you might be a little bit more comfortable outside.
Yeah, but being near the door and when I am on the job, it's what I did when I was alive. The outside part is more comfort from being around new vampires. I'm still trying to get my head around that. Being able to sink into the ground, having that sense of safety and retreat available to me has had me a little on edge, but I'm working at getting over that.
Excellent. Well, I can certainly talk to Ghost about a bouncing job.
I definitely appreciate it. The funds that Mr. Green gave me when I came into the city, though good, won't last forever. And finding a job is definitely going to be helpful, because until the coterie gets off, there won't be any income coming in from there yet.
Yes. I was rather wondering what your experience with animals is.
Well, I've found that, unlike most of the kindred, I seem to not cause them any distress, though I'm nowhere near close to Mr. Green. He seemed to be able to talk to the dog the first time I met him. I just have a calming effect, I guess.
He can. I was just wondering what your skill with dogs was and whether a position as an animal trainer or something might suit you.
Well, if I got it correctly, the Discipline? He sounds like he's trying to sort through words that he's heard recently.
She'll give him a small nod of encouragement.
One of our clan is called animalism. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have the ability. I've tried. Mine more came out in the protean aspects
Well,
when I was...
that is, well, everyone is different, and everyone experiences the blood in their own way, whatever clan they may be in. I know that there are members of my clan who have entirely different skill sets to myself.
But I have definitely noticed that the animals don't mind me, and when around other kindred, prefer my side to theirs. And being able to calm them has been very useful in training Isabel's cat.
I asked partly because I am considering opening something of an animal shelter with an eye to being able to work on training animals for assistance in vampiric issues. Obviously, Mr. Green would be the best person to talk to about the specific training for the role, but general interest, I suppose. I don't know a great deal about animals, and an advisor in the area might be called for.
Well, I'll definitely talk to Mr. Green about this.
I already have. He was, well, let's just say, encouraging, and intends on sending a ghoul over to discuss the actual plans in setting it up. Kennels and fenced yards or whatever is involved. As I said, I don't know a great deal about animals. But someone with something more of a long-term interest might be useful, but I can certainly see about trying to arrange that with someone else. I simply thought it might be an idea.
And a bright idea at that, but unfortunately animals is not where my skills lay.
That is fair enough. Do you have a great deal of experience with bodyguarding?
Yeah, I was a bodyguard to the Iowa state senator for a little while, and then after that, when that dried up, moved into a small town, and I was a bouncer for a while. Not a whole lot of trouble, but every once in a while you have to know when to step in. This physique ain't for nothing. And with that, he'll like pull open his coat, and the shirt underneath is actually a fine silk shirt, and it shows off a nice six-pack.
Sheridan will smile. Well then, given the amount of people in the city, it is quite possible that that we could see about trying to introduce you to someone who may have need of a bodyguard.
If you could arrange it and find someone, that would be fantastic. I would definitely like to get back into the business. It's been a while, and something comforting from my past life might help ease my way in, especially with the money situation. Then maybe I can find a place of my own and go on from there.
That seems like a good plan. Speaking of a place of your own, what kind of a place did you have in mind? Manhattan is, as you may have noticed, relatively urban.
Yes, I have noticed that. Uh, I guess trying to find a first floor apartment with a basement would be the best course of action, though a house would be better than having people coming and going all the time.
Well, I shall keep my eyes and ears open, and I very much hope that that you have success in your endeavours. Might I ask quite what you have in mind with your coterie business-wise?
For the coterie, mainly the business is being run by... Crap, don't have my notes up.
Mr. Rossi.
Mr. Ossie and...
Isabel?
Not Isabel. Shoot, what's his name?
Tobias.
Amichan's Tobias. Mr. Fudge. Budge. Mr. Budge. It's them who's mainly doing the business aspects. I was more or less brought in as the muscle.
I understand. I was simply curious. I'm sure I can ask them at some point.
Yeah. So, but they'd be the people to ask. Last time we went out, it got a little hairy. We were looking into a gang of some sort, the Red Rovers. I think they're trying to acquire it to build up. Maybe something about getting rid of the mob, or I don't know. I wasn't paying too much attention. They were talking about it when we went to the towers and got a look at the 7th floor. I was more interested in being up so high. I've never been in such a big building before.
Well, it certainly does seem to be something of a monolithic structure.
And I was also happy to hear that you were thinking about putting in a gym. It would definitely make my workouts a little bit easier being closer to where I spend quite a bit of my time instead of just running about the streets.
The ground floor, in fact, yes. I should warn you that that the proprietor will be a werewolf.
Oh, well, that would definitely be interesting. Maybe I could meet him.
Oh, I certainly think that you two would get along nicely. I'm not sure quite what his opinion would be likely to be of Mr. Rossi, but he'd probably get on with yourself and Isabel.
Well, I would hope so. I've heard nothing but bad about werewolves since I became a vampire. But if you are saying he's okay, he must be.
Werewolves are dangerous, but then, to an extent, so are vampires. I would advise against crossing them, but certain individuals are a lot more reasonable than the majority.
Understandable.
I believe if you are speaking with Frank Green, and I'm quite sure that he'd like to talk to you, you might ask him about the ones that he knows. I know that there are some that live near him. I don't know a great deal about them, but there are some. He might be able to advise you on them. But Travis seems to be quite enthusiastic and friendly.
Well, most definitely. And finding another supernatural creature to be a sparring partner probably be a great deal of help for keeping my strength up instead of just working out on my own.
Oh, definitely. But do be careful with that.
And at that moment, a chirping sound comes from Jason's coat pocket, and he looks thoroughly embarrassed about it going off. And one moment, please. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out his phone. Speaking of Mr. Green, I am getting a text from him right now saying something about an urgent meeting.
Well,
Probably should go to that.
I think we have covered pretty much everything. Would you like my driver to take you over there?
It'd be much appreciated. I'm tired of running all over the place, but it's one way to get around, that's for sure.
And Lady Sheridan will go and prod Billy, who has found his way back into the kitchen to eat loads of biscuits again. And Billy, the inept bodyguard, that not being his real name in character, but definitely what Lisa and I call him, Billy, the inept bodyguard, will drive you over to Frank Green's place. And there the scene will end.